Hey everybody, I'm Jesse Hill.
And I'm Hank Berman.
Welcome to the High Note Podcast and Anderson Domingues. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing wonderful.
The
I'm
Anderson
doing wonderful
Domingues.
just to be here, you know.
I know, man.
Yeah. Anderson Domingues. I want to be him when I grow up.
I do too, man.
All the talent.
I grew up, man, seeing Anderson everywhere. You know, I remember my dad worked at the Beaurivage, and of course that was Anderson's hub. That little,
Yeah.
it's the center bar.
That's right. The
What's it
center
called?
bar.
What's it called?
Breezy Bar.
Breeze
Breezy
Bar.
Bar.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So, Anderson, man, what's going on, man? I know you've been staying pretty solid. Every time I go on social media, I see you playing here, you're playing there, you're working it out, man.
Being a working musician,
Yeah.
you got to keep you going.
Yeah.
There's no other way to do it, you know.
Yeah.
You know better. Hank knows better. You know?
Yeah.
Hank's the most experienced here, you know. And
Just because I'm 40 years older than you guys.
well,
That's
yeah,
the
it's
only reason.
couple of years.
Couple of years.
He might have the
anyway.
most experience, but you probably have the most distance behind you when it comes to where you're from versus singing here on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, tell us how.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear
did
this
you,
story.
I've always wondered this too. How did you end up here? Where did your musical talent start? Was it from family, or was it something that you just wanted to do or had?
I'm going like in the basic ways, you know, like we're in America. I'm here for 21 years. And people dream to come to America. Now talking about music, I'm here as a dream, like working, making money, dollars, you know, all over the world. I've been playing music in Europe and Central America, South America, and one day I'm in Brazil doing what I'm doing here, and somebody come to me and said, "You want to go to United States next month?" I'm like, "What the heck he's talking about?" You know, I was playing piano in a little lounge, you know. I was Anthony Gibson.
Anthony Gibson.
Anthony Gibson.
Yeah.
A lot of people know that name.
Oh,
Anthony
yeah.
Gibson. I didn't understand. The manager came in and translate everything, you know, like there was May 2022. 2022, yes.
Really?
And then May 2022, I was here.
So
You know?
Anthony, was he down there, or had he just someone recommended you to him?
He was down there, like, because they have the summer show here over the Beaurivage. They used to have every year different. They bring people from Russia, from shows from Brazil, Central America, different things.
Yeah.
They decided to build like a Brazilian show. They're looking for a lead singer. And that was me.
Huh.
And since I stepped here, there was a challenge. Because the show's supposed to be all in Portuguese.
Oh, wow.
All in Portuguese, you know?
Wait, what's your
Que coisa mais linda. And I had to learn how to sing. Tchau, entendinha. Now I know, but like imagine this thing 20 years ago. It was like that. You know?
That song actually, A Girl from Ipanema, Antonio Carlos should be. Actually, as a kid, because my parents were big jazz people, I grew up with that song. Stan Getz blowing sax on it, and you had she just passed away, Astrid Gilberti. She just died. The girl who sang it on that. But it's funny because and musically, that is what I associate. I'm that guy. I don't know. You know, I've gotten into some South American music, Brazilian music, which I love the bossa nova. So I'm relating is what I'm trying to say to you. So you had to come up.
I grew up doing all these, and I like playing the classical guitar, like in the bossa nova.
Really?
Portuguese. That's what I used to do.
Oh,
That's
need
what I
to
used to
take
make
lessons.
money and survive. You know, bars and hotels and
Very cool.
you know, and coming here to do these shows, and my life was in a different direction. So I had the work visa, could be staying here for 10 years, go back one day to Brazil, come back. I decided to stay on vacation, me and my friend Lisa Orange, an amazing singer. And decided to stay here, rent an apartment, burning money here. And then the money's like, oh, got no more money. How am I going to pay the rent like in a couple of months?
Right.
And not ashamed to say, we start work as a housekeeping until learning English and be...
Did you speak English?
I learned it through here.
Is that right?
So South Mississippi, Gulf Coast Mississippi taught you English, pretty much. Wow.
Sir.
That's amazing.
That is.
Just like they taught y'all. Y'all.
Oh,
wow,
Lord.
that's funny.
Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah.
I make my ways work here and there.
Was it difficult to the language barrier and to overcome it? Because they say, and you would know rather than us, that English is one of the hardest languages to learn.
everything is different. Everything is difficult. And it's still today. It's not just the language, it's the culture. And being a musician, you got to adapt yourself into the area, into the place.
Sure.
And being myself, singing and speak with an accent and my island style. You know, I want to put my thing out there. I want to be myself and respect place, airs, musician, and things like that. Because that's what I do, you know. I like to come see Hank. I like to come see you, learn and listen to. I enjoy it as a customer, you know. I'm over there learning. I don't believe in competition. Call me like whatever y'all call me. The words is totally different these days. Sometimes I get hurt, but I always keep my head up, and amazing things happen.
That's great.
Amazing things happen, you know.
I love that.
I do too. It's competitiveness is always going to be there. It's never going to go away. But at the same time, it's when people, I don't know if it's insecurities or whatever, can be hurtful in trying to, I mean, mine. It's mine. I don't want you in there. It really is curious. And when I started playing years ago on the coast, it was more of a brotherhood. Even more than it's now.
It's supposed to be like that.
Yeah,
we are like that.
And you had
a union in Brazil.
Yeah,
musician union. That's nothing like it here.
No, and we had jam sessions where everybody would get together and play. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody liked everybody for the most part, and it was fun and it was good. And I noticed that now, even we have some great people, great musicians on the coast, and wonderful people. But there still is that. I guess there'll always be that element of it, but it seems like it's a little more of like
I was gonna have.
I want that gig.
But there's one thing, Hank, just we all have the bills to pay.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? And we're qualified. We're very blessed to have steady gigs.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We have steady
Absolutely.
gigs in place,
Absolutely.
You know? And then when is that is yours. For a certain time, it's nothing's forever. For a certain time, you're gonna be there.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And when the people come in the competition, because sometimes it's clear to cut to you, because they don't care. I'm a type of guy, I care. I care where you play. I'm thinking about jazz. No, I'm not going to get out. I'm going to look for something on the spot. Because jazz is over there. Hank is over there. You know, if you can combine as a community, everybody's okay, it's fine. You know, but I feel terrible to go in a place, no, I don't need you anymore. You know, I need you. And if vice versa happened to me as well.
Well, it's happened to all of us, I think.
It's a normal thing.
It's a rite of passage almost, unfortunately. But, and you're absolutely right in everything you're saying. I agree with you. We are, in many ways, an amenity. The music is. And you notice that if a business, not just casinos, but if a business is kind of like the numbers aren't adding up, one of the first things they do is cut the music.
Oh yeah.
Even though you bring people in to see you, it's still kind of that dichotomy. It's that weird catch-22. Well, they're coming to see me. They won't be coming here anymore. But it's the expense. It's the pencil pusher in black and white right there. It's.
And I think in 2008, which was the housing crisis, when that happened, they had a lot of layoffs because my dad was working at the Bow, got laid off. And then 9/11 got laid off, you know, Bo, and so they were very. That's kind of how it was. Like when you have like this big, you know, economic change, music usually stops for a second, especially with the pandemic. Everyone felt that. I know you felt that too. So, but it's really nice down here with the amount of venues that we have, the culture that we have, the tourism, the Air Force Base, all that stuff adds up to a really nice hub for gigging musicians. Yes. And we're not like Nashville where everybody and their mom can sing and they're waiting for their shot. Like we're down here, and like you said, we've been blessed with steady gigs, but also gifts. Like some people, I mean, I'm sure your parents when y'all were younger, like
being a working musician is one thing. Being an experienced working musician, being an experienced working musician is one thing.
Yeah,
you can be talented in many ways, but if you're not responsible. Deliver the job every night.
It's a business.
It's a business.
And has to be treated as a business.
You know what I'm saying? And then when you get over there, we got to put our soul and show our music for those customers. Doesn't matter where you play. you know. But
yes.
I got a headache and my stomach is hurt. I mean, always they smile.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't let them see you sweat. No, yeah, that's right, and that's
correct.
That's
correct.
You know, Jesse, he always asks our guests at the end something for musicians or something, but that is great advice right there. That they don't care if your cat just died. They don't care if you got a ticket on the way there. They don't care about it. They want to be, for the most part, want to be entertained. They want you to be there, and whether it's from the top to the bottom, the patron that's in there. It's like when you watch somebody on television, you know, on a talk show.
It's so easy people tell bad stuff about you.
Yeah.
Oh, they sing bad tonight.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so hard to people say, "Oh man, this guy's good."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or when that happens from one table to the next, this guy over here doesn't think you're doing that good a job, and the other guy over here saying, "Man, you sound great."
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it I think comes down to their favorite genre of music, because you could be just a great opera singer and then go to sing country music, and it's like I just don't like that person. It doesn't sound. It's not that they don't have the talent. It's just that it's
just a
not
style, the taste.
That's
and,
right.
And taste of music.
It's very interesting how that
we
works.
sit here on the table and like three different like styles.
Yeah, we're totally different.
You know
Now, with your style, this is the first week that we've had a podcast since Jimmy Buffett died, and the lead singer of Smash Mouth, which I remember, Harwell, he passed away from liver failure.
Saw that, and I had read about it 3 days ago that he only had a week or so to live, and then it was immediate.
If anything, liver failure. Now his was based off of substance abuse, alcoholism for a long time. Like that's more common. But when that liver goes, you go.
Well, yeah, as you well know now with Mia, with your daughter, and I'm sure your I know your education is.
Oh yeah, if you need any kind of, we could do a whole podcast about liver, liver enzymes, failures. Like we know it all now.
That is also a pitfall in being a musician is alcohol or substance abuse. That old term, liquid courage, because it takes a certain amount of courage and ego to get up and play in front of people. You have to have an ego to get up and play, but nobody likes an ego being shown off. You know, confidence is one thing, and ego is another.
There's a balance.
There's a balance.
Well, I used to.
So I mean, I remember when I started playing, I was very introverted. As a child, I was very introverted, and then when I start my first gig, I still remember it, and just like, oh, alcohol, this is fun, this is good. Hey, it's a party and all that stuff.
Matter of fact,
gotta be careful.
Matter of fact, my daddy was a singer. My whole family musician.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
How big a family do you come from?
My uncle was a outstanding guitar player, just like George Benson. I'm telling you, your style.
Wow.
He is still living. About probably 35 years ago, he was about to give up. And then he was offered to come to Canada for a jazz festival. And then he plays all original songs. Come back to Brazil, become one of the number 10 songwriter in the country.
Really?
Become from living like in $100,000 house to $1 million house, writing songs. Very talented.
That is wow.
This is your uncle?
My uncle. The dream of being like a musician, recording, ends right there when he didn't expect, and he started writing songs for the big artists in the country. And I'm amazed. My dad in 11 albums in Brazil. My dad passed away 27 years ago, early, you know, my hero, everything. I remember seeing my dad in 100,000 people in front of him, like one of the biggest national festivals in Brazil. I was 11 years old, and I looked to my mom eyes, I'm going to be just like my dad. My mama said, no, you're not. Graduating college, getting drunk and playing music, true like
Animal House, singing Louie and
never done anything. I've been playing since 22 years old.
Oh wow!
Mama said, "No, you're not."
That's funny.
These days I'm scared about like the future. Oh, I was gonna be like being a musician. No, stop. Retirement, things like that. Yeah. It's like nothing's guaranteed in life. Do your thing. My mom is 73 right now. That's you, and that's what it is. You're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? It is a fact, but it's in the blood.
I think so.
You can. People can. I know musicians. They step away. They're talents. They're in a circle, and they step away. Now I'm gonna get a regular job. They give me health insurance. They give me this. They give me that. And those guys are so miserable, dying to play, to sing, because when it's yours, yours. That's what it is. You gotta believe in yourself. You got to do. Through the pandemic, 2020, I freak out along with everybody. Yeah. But being the musician, I say, what is gonna do? You just mentioned. When everything's reopened, we're the bottom. They have money, they're gonna hide like live music. Otherwise,
right?
You're right. And I said, I got a chance. I'm a one-man band. I play solo. It's small. I fit in everywhere. Give me a corn.
Yep.
And a couple of dollars.
Yeah. Yep. Give me a quarter and a couple of dollars.
Doesn't matter if I had to play like 10, 12 shows a week to bring money home to feed my family.
Right.
And it happened. The 30th week of April, a friend of mine, the owner of the El Rancho right here in Mexican Ranch, called me, let's do Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. I said, how? Outside, curbside. Gonna put chairs over there, social distance. Run out of food, everybody's over there. There was one of those big moments I had here because my customer, my friends, they're all coming. I probably make almost like $1,000 in tip in my tip jar. The regular base we make like 100. That was 1,000. Like, wow. Yeah. The community was together.
They rallied for you.
They wanted for the music. They were there for the music, get out the house and do things.
Oh, heck yeah.
And then Rick come to me and said like, what's your schedule? I said, are you kidding me? Nothing. And said, let's do like Wednesday, let's do like the location in Diabloville, Thursday in Biloxi, Friday here. And he filled up my schedule. Like, not lots of money according to my review schedule, but I was playing and make a little bit money.
That's great.
You know what I'm saying? And
thank God for people like him too.
I was talking to a friend of mine, musician, Grain Rian. And Grant like, man, that struggle, he would get a job. I can imagine like Grant be painting walls.
Yeah, he would tell us about that. Yeah.
I was on the phone for him through those things, And I said, don't give up, bro. Do what you got to do,
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, start bringing him for me to share things, like.
But that says a lot about Graham too, in that one of those guys that his ego isn't above, I'm a musician, I don't need to be doing that sort of thing. It's like, hey, nothing against McDonald's, but if I need to work at McDonald's, I'll go work at McDonald's. If I need to paint, I'll paint. If I need to mow grass, whatever, it's like it's you do what you got to do.
I learned about that. I had a lot of ego. One of mine was probably like until my 33 years old. Lost a lot of gigs in Brazil. I was playing all nightclubs, the biggest nightclubs in Brazil, and I lost because I was the man. Right. I believe in.
Sure.
A lot of people go through these, and then I learned. Came here playing like the big shows for like 8 months over the Bow Revision, like 8 shows a week, at the theater, treat like a king, like got a room for you, food, cars,
buffet, baby, buffet.
Buffet.
Yeah, we all know about the buffet.
I like it, but I couldn't see anymore every day.
Oh, God.
So anyway, I stay here on vacation with my friend Liz. I'm dating like my second ex-wife.
Yeah, but don't be ashamed.
It's 3 now. So anyway.
Well, when you get to a certain point, Jesse doesn't know this. You get to a certain point where you don't call them by names or exes. You call them by numbers. That was number 2.
Number 2.
Was that number 2 or 3 who did that? I'm not really sure.
So money was short, like to pay the bills, and we had to do something. Now the English wasn't there to sing or to speak or get a job, and paperwork wasn't ready, and the work visa is more complicated to do things, Let's get some jobs, like I went clean rooms and like put a uniform and like, oh my God, that was so a shame. And then one day Somebody opened the door. I said, how's it keeping? Ta, ta, ta. And then the lady looked at me like, oh my God, you're the guy, the singer that showed the boy voice. I put my head down like all embarrassed. And then a split of seconds, I said, yeah, that was me. Like, yes, man, that was me. You work here? Yes. Right there, my ego went away.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's money. It's decent. I'm work. I make my ways.
That's a great story.
You know what I'm
That
saying?
is a great story. That'll open up people's eyes.
I really like that.
Because I think we've all fell into that to where we're like, you know, this is, especially me. Like I started this when I was 14. And I was given many opportunities I was kind of like pushed at, you know, restaurant. My dad being a musician, pretty well known down here, like it helped. Like that was privilege in that sense. Definitely. But I've hit my little areas where I'm like, well, I don't need that gig. I don't need that gig. And then you wake up, you're like, wait, hold on.
What am I saying?
Yeah, what am I saying? Hank knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But it's like
that brings back, you know.
It brings you back to
bring back together, you know, yourself, you know.
I think that's another thing that mentally builds or is part of the building blocks of being a musician. And what we were talking about earlier, which is almost like my dad was a child of the Depression. And excuse me. And to this day, he's 99 years old. To this day, he still has that. He's still a kid at heart from the Depression. He's very frugal, not cheap, frugal, being careful. And I think musicians are like that. We were talking about camaraderie and that type of thing earlier. But we can't say no because we don't know if we're going to have a gig next week. And of course, there's some gigs that are better than others and some gigs that don't pay as well as others, but the people are so great or whatever, you know. But I think that's part of the makeup of a musician too. At least one that makes a living at it and has done it for some time. We're in a funky business. If we don't stay on top of it, we don't get hired. There's a few behind you waiting to get
There's
your gig.
always somebody at that
There's
door.
always somebody.
What's happening?
next.
What's happening?
Always.
What's happening here in the coast? Like right now, I remember like back in 2006, playing in Imperial Pilots, bring my tracks. Play my guitar and sing, and people like play other place. And people, what is that? It's a karaoke. Say, call whatever you want to do. People don't have knowledge.
See, I used to take it. I used to take
K-word.
I used to take offense to it. I used to. That's all I do. I sing.
I used to, and I said like, you don't know. Some people got a talent. I myself, I lay all my tracks. I got a knowledge in the studio. I got a little studio in my house. I lay all my tracks. I do my style, the way I'm gonna fit my guitar on myself. You know what I'm saying? Hank. There's a few other musicians, but Hank is here. Got a good taste to just the tracks and things. I know you don't lay the tracks, but I listen
well, some
to
of
you
them
go.
I did, and I started out doing what you did.
Jazz is the same thing, you know.
Well, and it's jazz, and I would tell people, I've been playing so much longer than you guys that I was playing using tracks that I made at home before karaoke. And when karaoke came out, it was like for a solo or duo music or even a trio that was using tracks, backing tracks in one way or the other. It like took the wind out of our sails because that's what we would get. Oh, it's karaoke. You're setting up for karaoke. And it would just go right through me. It's like,
I would have people come up to me like, hey man, it's open mic night. Can I come? Like when they come to eat, like, you know what? At first it would be like a punch in the gut. Like, son of a bitch. Like,
get up.
Yes.
Yes,
exactly.
Get up and do it. What I'm doing. Just like people think it's easy, it's not just being a singer,
right.
The atmosphere and putting things together. Things you do, Jazz, like everywhere, I'm not going to miss places, but like, you walking in. I remember see you at Treasure Bay at the
CQ.
CQ
right,
back
I remember
there.
that.
I work over there for my family, just to walk and listen to jazz, like it's so good, and I was like, sound good. That's those vibes. I go in place, not gonna lie to you, I love music. I go in place, I walk, there's a musician, I'm just like, okay.
Something for everybody.
It's not giving me anything, but I respect, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like I do.
I saw Jesse, first time I saw him, he was playing at Walgreens. He was right there by the cash register, and I was saying, hey man, leave me alone, I got a gig.
Drugs.
Shut up.
We all need some drugs.
Clean up aisle 5.
But to get in the point of being here for a while, just like Hank said, he's been here older than us,
Yeah.
But back in the days, 15 years, and people mention, like, oh yeah, yes, Hank Beer and Anderson Domingues. Hank Beer and Anderson Domingues. When you're talking about tracks, one man band, right after the pandemic right now, and I know because I'm in the business, it feels like the whole Coast Mississippi's a one-man band right now.
So here, I'm going to put this out. 'Cause my dad told me this in mid-2000s. So
I'm proud.
2004. My dad, 5-piece band. And I said, man, I want to be a country star. Or I want to do rock and roll. And my dad said, all right, Jesse. And this was right when tracks were, I mean, that technology was starting to take that turn to where you can go from DVDs, and the iPod just came out.
Yeah.
The first iPod. And he was like, all right, this is how we're going to do this. He said, one, you can be with a band, but you're dealing with other people's schedule, other people's baggage.
I give up.
Egos.
You're splitting money. He goes, or you can take my advice and really start learning Nat King Cole and Bobby Darin. Why? Because those people who are the older generation, they don't want to stay out late. So now you don't have to worry about late night gigs. And do you want to sing to beer or wine drinkers? So I was like, well, what does that make sense? He goes, well, wine's more expensive. That's more money. So he ushered me into this realm that nobody else was doing around here.
But see, that's the other thing. Your dad was so smart enough to see that you have a niche. That there wasn't one, and you filled the void that wasn't there. And I had one for
a long time. And now you got some crooners around, which is great.
Probably because, hey, look, Jesse's doing it. I can.
But I mean, I thank Dad every day for that. That's that part of the privilege.
But that was very intuitive of your dad.
Oh yeah,
Bill's such a great guy.
But I always got that kick in the gut when somebody walked up to me.
You got it. I remember you telling me, like at the Scarlet, say, like early gig, good money. I don't have to be late night. Like,
now living the life that we're living with Amelia's liver failure. Like now I can work 12 to 13 hours a week and be home most of the other time versus other dads who'd be at Ingalls or something like that 40, 50 hours a week. I don't have to do that, which now it's brought me back down to earth. Like, okay, here's things that God has prepared you for. And you probably didn't, you always thought, oh, I'm spoiled. No, he's getting you prepared to be like, hey, you need to be home a little bit more. And this is going to allow you to be home.
You can do, yeah.
Yeah. And
how blessed are you to be afforded that?
Exactly.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. I was going to say this too. You mentioned in what we were talking about, business. There's still, it is a business what we do, and there's still people that will say, I'll say, talk about taxes. I got to get all my tax stuff done, or I got to do this. What are you talking about, man? You just play the guitar. See, that mentality is like, it's a job. Has to be treated as a job, has to be respected as a job. I'm talking about me with paperwork, me with what I do and keeping up with it, just like you guys as well. But there's still that thing of people seeing you up there. They can't understand that we do have an occupation that can be, and most of the time is fun. Our job is to make people happy, is to remind them through a song of the good times. And even if it is the bad times, well, guess what? It's called the blues, and they're still cathartic in the blues, Yeah,
people don't get much about
they don't understand. The general guy doesn't understand what it's like to be a musician. Now, I'm not sitting here crying because quite the opposite. So blessed to do what we do. And smoke and mirrors, that's what they say when people say, hey, man, you got tracks on there. Smoke and mirrors. That's all it is. It's still, the talent is within the person doing it. And we have so many talented musicians here.
Tracks are not a shame, I'm very particular about tracks, because that's what I've been doing, recording for like many years, I used to work in the studio to record background music, like for TV shows and things like that. And along for my career, I've been doing a bunch of things.
Jesse, we need to go down to South America and make a living.
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Just sitting here and just record, they send to you, just like putting,
Wow.
Yeah.
And
you can go play nighttime in your gigs.
Wow.
I'm going to ask you something.
And the food's good.
I'm going to ask you something. So, being from Brazil and being here, do you find it as, like, having to learn certain songs, and one, did you ever listen to music with English lyrics before you came here? And did you ever perform?
Brazil, South America, the whole world is different than the United States of America.
Explain just a little bit. I'm interested.
You turn the radio. I'm in Japan. I turned the radio like the next song like easy like Sunday morning. There's a mix.
Wow.
The radio station they bring all over the world. American music go all.
And then see American movies as well, because I went to Tokyo for a month, and it's kind of crazy. You would see these movie posters and everything. Some of them were English, and it's like Lord of the Rings. I was like, hell, that was 5 years ago. Like, what's that?
Yes.
But they love Americana culture,
Americana, period. Yeah.
Western, all that kind of stuff. They eat it up. But that's interesting that you're saying that.
Yeah, but it's like it goes. I grew up listening all these, coming here like not knowing, if you're talking about easy like Sunday morning, what easy like Sunday morning means. I didn't know back then. Of course I don't know.
I still don't understand what it means.
It's never easy.
Easy like Sunday morning.
And the fact of just like to get in business, like for my accent, being different. I say like I need to know what I'm singing. I need to know the meaning. I'm an artist. You know what I'm saying?
But hats off to you to
know what I'm saying?
Go to a country where you don't know the language. That is mind-boggling.
Watch a million of American movies. If the caption in Portuguese, the words, the sound get in my ear, and I'm reading, computing.
So you're watching. So you're watching a movie in Portuguese or
in English.
In English. But the Portuguese subtitles. Okay,
subtitles in
that
Portuguese.
Makes sense.
It gets in your head. Gets in your head, and then you're gonna learn the song, and you put the lyrics in front of you, and then you start getting more and more.
So when you
I don't read books because I read the lyrics.
Right.
So when you had a gig, let's say early on in your American life here, and people would walk up to you, was there still that language barrier of like people you were trying to decipher? Because now you're solid at it. Like we can talk fast to you, and you catch
yeah,
it,
definitely. You know me for a while.
Yeah.
Too.
But I'm talking about like those early 2000s or whatever. Like when people would walk up to you and say, "Man, you sound great" or whatever. Would you compute that? Like, or did it take a while? Did it take a couple years?
No, like these things, just like you sound good, like you're terrible.
You'd be like, "What? I don't understand."
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I don't speak English.
I done this so many times. Actually, man, interesting story. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
You can say whatever the hell you want.
Back in the days, now I got to pull over like 7 shots of Crown in my head.
Yep.
Everything's correct,
That's right. The world is beautiful.
Cop talk to me like, "Oh, drive license, okay, everything's correct. Where you come from?" I say, "Oh, I come from the show. I'm a musician, blah 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 blah. I'm from Brazil. I've been here for a while. How long have you been here?" I said, "A couple of years." I was here like whatever.
Right.
10 years, And he's just like, "Well, we're probably gonna have to test you for DUI." I said, "What? Well, I don't understand what you're saying."
Yes.
So you don't know what is that? D-U. You know what? The other guy looked at me and said, like, "Dude, just be careful, okay? Look, you're gonna give a warning."
He probably rolled his eyes.
Wow.
He's like, I can't
He didn't realize I was in the car, like.
Oh,
because
man.
they got it mixed up with my accent. It is, this guy's drunk or that's the way he talks.
Oh, that's
That's what it was, the interesting thing, And I wasn't drunk. I couldn't handle it. I can't handle it. I don't drink, and I drink social these days. Even my gigs, I don't drink. That's what Hank was talking about earlier. I used to drink a lot, I decided to stop. And I always thought I had to go drink to get up on the stage and sing. I'm sober. I control everyone.
You're right.
I see everybody drunk, and I'm just like, yes,
I'm the same way. I always thought like for me to sing "I love you, babe" and hit that note, I had to have 2 or 3 wines before I try that song.
Yeah.
That's not true.
That's not true.
It's not true. And it's like I'll drink occasionally. I don't social drink. I don't even crave it. But it's only when I'm on the singing.
We yelled one day, and that's what it is. Yeah. My daddy, 2 things he taught. He lost everything. Like he had probably when I was 13, 14. And I started playing guitar. And all my friends on the street, they have nice guitars, Fenders, Gibson, like Taylors. And my daddy gave me the piece of crap guitar, horrible color, dark blue. The string could even get over there.
Oh no,
action. The way he got me in this thing, he said, like, "Look, let me tell you something. I'm taught self in everything. Piano, I play little drums, bass. I taught myself in everything. And your knowledge, you study a lot, you see it. Even when I play the piano, all my tracks, chords, if you see my C, it's not just the way it is, it sound. I don't know. Don't ask me,
Sure.
It's complicated. And he said, if you can play the guitar over there, you can play any nice guitar ever.
That's true.
That's right.
I got probably like 20 guitars in my house.
That's probably an affliction that most
probably got like
$80,000
in guitars.
Yep.
you know, because that thing got in my head. I didn't have, I kept working, buying, because I wanted, but being a musician, you know, and I'm proud of this, you know, because he gave me this thing.
Yeah.
All the thing he told me, just like, you want to be a musician? He gave me like, he put him in the gig, steady gig, like 3 days a week in this little tiny bar in downtown in Brazil. That pays like $30. I was 16 years old, like a night. They're like, yes, $30.
Right.
Hey, heck yeah,
leaving
dude.
my mama, my daddy, like
Beats a paper route.
You know what I'm saying?
You make what that first dollar. My dad always said, if you're paid to do something, that means you're a professional.
Yeah.
And so, hey, you became professional.
But what he told me like was, and I'm gonna say here, I don't know who you're gonna reach. You know, might be some young generation out there like start playing music behind us. But my daddy told him, you're gonna be a musician. There's some free women over there, free drugs, and free alcohol. Be careful. You don't have to take it all. You don't have to do anything. Moderation.
Moderation.
Moderation. I like that. But that might be what I like that. I like that title, moderation.
It's easy to say. It's hard to apply.
I was going to say, I had a hard time with that definition of moderation different times.
Yeah, guys.
And your dad is right. You know, it's when somebody likes you, especially now where unless you have a cash app or one of those money apps that most people don't have cash to tip you. I'm not saying
The
everybody.
words become like that.
So what do? Well, I don't have any cash, but I can buy you a drink.
Yeah.
I can buy you a bunch of drinks.
That happens all the time.
It
Because
happens
I have-
all the time.
Because I have comps, so I'll just take care of your bar tab.
That's
What
right.
you
Or
want.
comps in a casino, right? It's like a
Exactly.
I'll take care. Drink, eat all you want. It's on me. You know, that kind of thing. So
It is complicated,
so,
but like
it
you
is.
know,
But your dad was right. Everything in moderation.
become a thing is like, the life's change, you never know what's gonna expect next week or next month or next year. And being a working musician, you never know. I mean, here one day I can be there, I can sign contracts and then change, you get your name around, we okay.
That's right.
But as I struggle, just like you said, there's some good gigs, there's some bad gigs. Sometimes you get a bunch of bad gigs and the financial get down a little bit. And then like in a few months, you get all the good gigs and the financial go up. So
That's right. It comes out in the wash.
So what am I gonna do?
In the long run?
I'm going to buy like a Kia or a Mercedes. I don't know. What I can afford to pay.
Yeah.
Moderation.
Moderation. Yes, absolutely.
But it is it's a good scene in what's going on here right now on the coast. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing
And it's growing. It's still growing.
I just like Hank said, the community, when people used to play, I don't see none of us getting together in jam.
I wish we would.
If you talk to me, Hank, and you, Jazz, and some other musician, it's almost impossible because we work pretty much every day.
I mean, I'm a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I know.
You know what I'm saying?
But
you know what I'm
you've
saying?
got
But I know a lot.
plenty.
But I know a lot of people. I mean, I'll see him. Like even Graham, we were talking about that man. He's working those retirement centers, and he's doing well with that.
I do the same.
Yeah, I think I saw
I do
your
the
name
same.
too.
I don't advertise much because that's not such,
I agree.
I don't
I-
advertise
I'm
much.
with
We
you.
don't have to bring people. We advertise to bring people.
You're going to them. Like usually, like if you're at a bar somewhere, like hey, I'm playing here, so and so. You want the people to come to you. But in that
Exactly.
situation, you're bringing the music to them, and rightfully so. Like that's an amazing mission and opportunity for anybody who's doing it.
And by the way, like just like being a named musician, I consider myself a named musician. What I've been doing here, just like
You are.
Hank and you and a few more out there. You know what I'm saying? There's no shame to go play. And people say like, "Oh, are you donating your time?" No, I'm not donating my time. I'm going over there to sing for 1 hour. It's a business still. You know what? Those nurse homes, assisted living, they charge for those people living over there. They got to have some kind of entertainment. They had a budget. If you said I'm not charging
They have a
anything,
budget.
they have a budget. It's not a lot, but it's 1 hour here, 1 hour there, 4 hours a week. Make something. Ads, because I'm a kind of guy. I'm gonna play that gig for $1 today. Tomorrow I'm gonna play that gig for $10, and the next day for $20. At the end of the week, I got $100, all combined. I don't discriminate gigs. I see what it is. Casino pays different, bar pays different, restaurant pays different. It's the budget they have to pay, and we appreciate to have the live music.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. Sometimes I don't I don't mention, I see musicians talking about tips. Oh my God, people got to tip on. People don't have, just like Hank said, sometimes people don't have money to afford to tip the waitress, to buy the food, the drink, the musician. What's it gonna be? They're gonna have to get out of here $1,000 to take care of everybody. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You gotta understand. You know, maybe if you get a little bit, depending tips, like it's okay. Yeah, I don't count in tips.
Right.
I never did count in tips. Some musician
Right.
does.
Right.
You know, I don't work for tips.
I acknowledge,
You know?
anyone who gives me $1 or anything else, a penny.
I appreciate.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank
it a
you.
lot.
And I even have a little sign that says that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your kindness, because that's what it is. It's a sign of appreciativeness.
Everybody
that,
can.
that they do.
Everybody
but
can
they don't
afford.
have to do it.
Yeah, they don't have to do. You know what I'm saying? It's up just, you know, that the money thing is just like the tip money is just like, oh my God, they enjoy. But you know, like
It means a lot.
what do you know about people? Everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get in a place, everybody's dancing, happy, whatever. Sometimes I get in a place, everybody's sitting down. You know, I don't know if I'm supposed to mention names, but like you can add it. So from my experience from Boa Vice Casino is the most, I've been there for 12 years, you know, and 875, for example. They got the circle bar. Sometimes people, they start playing, people get up and dance. That's night. They are sitting over there. They'll even turn the head. And then they come to you, man, you sound good. At this type of
Isn't
people.
that amazing how there's no rhyme or reason to it?
Exactly. They're enjoying it. It's just this type of people. They're just talking.
It's an interchangeable atmosphere.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I mean,
and you could be playing the same playlist, but it's just the type of people who are there, the type of vibe that everybody gives everybody else there. It could be like a relaxing lounge, or it could be like, hey, this is a late night party bar.
I've said this about that many times. I've said, sometimes it doesn't matter if Paul McCartney was up there doing a surprise gig. You're going to get the same reaction. It doesn't matter who is up there sometimes.
Exactly.
And we've also talked about this, that I've always said, look at their feet. A lot of times, the guy with his back to you that's in a big conversation, but his foot will be passing to the beat. So he's hearing it. He's hearing it.
Exactly.
But some gigs are like that. And then others, you can't do anything wrong. You got it. Or your song list is just, you're picking the right song at the right time. There's an art to that. There really is an art to picking out a song list, to getting it going. Joe Zapata, longtime musician.
But
he was
sometimes the
the
same
best
people,
at
they're
it.
over there at 10 o'clock, they're quiet. 2 o'clock in the morning, you're the best musician in the world.
Well,
You're already drunk.
And the alcohol kicks in. That's right.
Yeah, usually that first hour, you're kind of like singing them in
like a
you're
wedding
enjoying-
reception.
Yeah,
Wedding
yeah.
receptions,
Easy.
that first hour, everybody's very pleasant. By the end, grandma's doing the YMCA dance.
I'm not gonna lie. I did
About a song that grandma would never.
I used to do a lot of weddings, and I haven't done them in a while because we've been gone. But man, one of those things is you can always tell the difference between a wedding when there's alcohol and when there's not. And like when there's not, it's usually like there's no dancing. It's just very like family oriented, which is fine,
Very proper.
very proper. But then when there's alcohol, you can break into that DJ and you can get out there and you can start dancing with them too. And oh man, it's good stuff.
Just like,
A Catholic wedding.
but being a
Love
worker,
it.
But being a worker musician is a challenge.
It is a challenge.
Hank was saying that like, people say that it's easy not playing. You know? There's a lot of things they don't know. A friend of mine was for me in a gig, you know. She like, oh, your job is easy. She's from Peru. Like, your job is easy. I'm saying that. Like, sure. And then she's like, oh, let's go. So let's go what? I got to break it down all G's. And then load my car. Oh, you got to do G's? I'm like, yes. And I played sometimes 3 gigs a day. So get back to back, you know, sit down, all sweating, smile. Okay, now I got to deliver the music. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Well, you do a very great job at it, and I've walked
Agreed.
past many times where you'll be playing, whether it's at the rooftop or at the Pearl. So go ahead, pitch what you're doing right now. I mean, I know you do a lot of different things, but what are some things that are
Sketch
that
change, you know, like, you know, I've been through a change right now. A lot of people been questioning like about, and that's just very nice you ask about this. I'm not ashamed. I'm not this type of musician. I'm not ashamed to say, oh, I'm not here and there, you know. Well, I've been over the Bowie Vice for 10 years straight, weekly, playing 875. I play every single venue. If a band is solo, you know, very nice they have me over there for all this. I much appreciate. The majority of musicians, Glenn Park, Diana Diaz, they don't want it. They just like, thank you, you don't need a contract. Now the Bowie Vice is different. It's a variety. I go to Bowie Vice 1 week a month. and I appreciate still. 12 years. They wanted, that's what they wanted. There's something new. I mean, I was like that, you know. Scarlet Pearl, about like 10 months, about a year ago, when you open your arm, oh, finally here, Anderson. I love you, gotta love you. You know, and Hank as well, like, welcome, you know. I was respected because I was see your guys, you know. The Scarlet Pearl is Hank Bierman, it's just Hill, like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I see, just like people see, and like, Bowie Vice is Anderson. Hank went to play the Breeze Bar like a few times, and I'm like,
I did.
You know what I'm saying? I had all the gigs, all the weddings and things, like, you know. But I always feel the respect. And since the day one I stepped over there, I was respecting your guys. Do I have to? Maybe some people would say no, but I do.
Right.
But I do. That's inside of me. I can't change that respect. I see that place just like your guys. You know the pressure to play music where you playing, that I'm watching your guys just like you watch. We learn for each other.
Yes.
That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And being a top self guitar player and do my thing. What got a Hank Bierman just like killing the guitar, the sound, because your taste is fantastic. You know, that's what I already told this. Your voice is fantastic, you know, and people embracing that thing. You're like, oh, that's so good to have Anderson, Hank, and this and this and this.
Right.
You know, you know, things change. We didn't redo the contract, the Scarlet Pearl. I was like, kind of like, good. Jazz can get more gigs. He's like,
Now you make me sweat over
Man,
here.
that's
but you know, like
that's wow.
No,
that was pretty cool.
No, but it is, you know, like, because we go different ways. We, you know,
things change. They evolve.
I'm still the Scarlet, even though I'm not playing with them. Still, nothing bad that happened. You know, they decide, you know,
Right.
You know, they had like 4 naming musicians in the same building. You know, I think it's a little too much in this case.
Well, I'll tell you this too. I remember it's kind of weird how I do this. I associate some musicians with the place. Like, I associate the place with musicians.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done that, but like
I do.
I've many years. I think of IP. I think of Scott Henson.
Right.
That's Scott Henson's area. You know,
I was going to bring up Scott Henson as well about the bow with the band with Kevin Williams and when they played in
back in the day, yeah.
Well, see, but that's this association.
That's true. That's
the
true.
same thing.
When I think of
with Scott,
when I think of Beau Rivage, I've always thought Anderson.
Yeah, I do too. I
remember that's exactly what I was talking about.
Exactly.
Like, when I'm thinking about the Scarlets, your guys, you know this. You know,
now, one thing I can tell you, I would always say is your superpower. Besides that, you're a very well-seasoned musician, you know, you make your tracks and everything, is volume control. I said, we were at a party or something. It was for a gaming summit. And we were in one of those little ballrooms on the second floor of the Beau Rivage. And
it was by the pool.
And there was at the pool, but there was also, you were inside for it was like a golf thing.
We did inside, yes.
So I remember you were setting up, and I was like, oh, hey, and I was like, I felt kind of cool because I was telling all these teachers, like, it's my wife's friends and stuff. I was like, you know, I was telling, you know, like all these people, you know, I know Anderson, you know, we're friends, you know, we're associates. But there was one thing, like, you played the first song, and I could tell that you were you had your volume control so perfect to where, like, I really enjoyed what you were doing, but also being able to talk. And there's some musicians who just don't get that, and that's something that I've had to look, because I'm playing to sometimes 70, 80-year-olds who are, you know, enjoying Sinatra, but you can't blare at them. And so, like,
sure you can. They'll just turn their hearing aids down.
But like, even at the Pearl, like there's somebody that's way in the back that says, "Hey, I want you to turn it up so I can hear you." But then there's these people right here in front of me.
It's a fine line.
I've got to play for them. You know,
I got to beat up in those things about the volume control. You know what I'm saying? I've been through a lot. I believe all of us, you know, like, man, can you turn down a little bit? And then it's like, how am I going to fix this problem?
Right.
Let me invest some money here.
Yeah.
People walk to me. Some people don't like, some people like. People walk to me. I mean, I adjust my sound. I walk in the room and say, that's perfect. Scarlet Pearl inside, IP inside. I go around, you know, like Bowie Vice in the middle of the casino. You cannot disturb the table games to be loud. Because those people, if they're winning, they're happy. Like, oh, you're the best musician. But if you feel loud and they're losing, like, oh, shut up.
Right.
Yeah. You know
what I'm saying?
Right.
You gotta be careful. I had a great mentor, like, you know, like Anthony Gibson was something. He walked me through a bunch of things, and he never gave up. And like, God, I need to do this. That's a job. every 5 hours, 4 hours, we playing is a job. Can you deliver this job and trust you? You know, I went through a lot of the boat. Great money, made tons of money in the boat, but just like musician life is not. We got to do like that.
Right.
Oh, I don't like these shoes. You cannot wear these shoes here. First time I got offended, like, well, he's right. There's a place. There's a place to wear your flip-flop. There's a place to dress up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
It's their house.
Exactly. It's their
and
house
their
as
rules.
I've had that. I remember Jarrett told me I came in without a tie. He was the manager of the Scarlet Pearl, like
Jared Hipp.
Jared Hipp. And I came in because I was like, I want to be more relaxed, and Hank doesn't wear a tie, so I'm not wearing a tie.
Oh, really? You threw me under the bus. Thanks a lot,
and Jarrett said, but Jarrett said, hey man, you need to wear a tie. Bob's not gonna like that. And I was like, whatever. Well, Bob came in that night and he asked the way, and he says, oh, it's good to see Jesse. Why didn't he have a tie on? And he wasn't getting on, but he was questioning it. That is the atmosphere I'm setting as a crooner. Hey, this is a fancy night. I'm going to sing you some fancy music.
And he's right.
And here's my fancy tie. When I don't want to wear that tie, I try to look more relaxed. That's not what we're going for. Wear a tie.
Right.
And like, I always wear a tie now. It's nothing offensive.
No.
It's just learning and thinking, okay, well, maybe I can try this or try a new look. No, we hired you for this look.
Well, Anderson and I both, we're hat guys. We always wear hats.
Yeah.
And, of course, people that are listening can't see the hat that you're wearing right now, Anderson. But it's the kind of hat that I wear when I gigs, which some people will understand. They'll know what I'm talking about. I got a baseball cap on right now. But I wore a hat like what Anderson wears, like a fedora, to the gig one night at Scarlet Pearl. And then Bob and Dolores, they said,
Oh.
I want you to wear that other hat.
Because it's not going to be you know what I'm saying?
That's because they identified with it, and that's what they like, just like the tie, and presenting it. And so I wear, it's fine with me. It's fine. I was just doing it to be a change.
Change. Sometimes it's change, but they don't get it.
And I get it, and I understood. And like you did, Jesse, and Anderson is agreeing as well. So that's not a problem, not an issue. You're identified with it. It's like different musicians identify with different things.
Exactly what happened.
So
I'm not going to change this already. Sometimes they're trying to change. Let me bring a bunch of new songs. And people are like, okay, can you sing Purple Rain?
Yeah, that's right.
You got Margaritaville?
Well, which I sang a bunch. I sang that a bunch in the last 4 days.
How many times you played Margaritaville?
I have played it, and
I played 4 times, son. They had a 2 shows.
I did it 3 times. 3 times, son.
Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett.
Rest in peace. JB. But I grew up, well, not grew up, but I was playing when the Parrot Head thing was. It has never not been strong, but it was just really everywhere was Buffett. Everybody wanted to hear Jimmy Buffett play. And it's like I always say, I love steak and lobster, but if I ate it every day for a month, I'd get tired of it.
Yeah.
But as a musician, and these songs, bless your heart, Jimmy, and if he was here right now, he'd tell you, you're right. They're not complicated songs. There's not like a Steely Dan jazz motif to it. But people love the songs. Or you could play. I'd play that song, different songs, 3 or 4 times in a set, and nobody was unhappy about it. But it's like, oh my gosh. So this past week, I started off I was playing it in past Christiane. I was playing at Shaggy's, and I thought, well, as a hats off thing, I'd put something on Facebook about it. The Jimmy Buffett's passing. So I started with a Jimmy Buffett song. Well, and you could see people, being appreciative and clapping, kind of giving you the nod, like that's very commendable. Until like the guy, do it again. Do it. It was like, oh, it's all coming back to me. I enjoyed it, but yeah. Purple Rain.
I don't feel Sunset Bar, and I'd sign on my own and start from Margaritaville,
Yeah.
And
at Island View?
Yeah, the Sunset Bar, and then you play over there as well.
Yeah,
and
Jennifer.
there was packed over there, and I started. And then the moment I started, like, dun, 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 it's a hype song, but everybody listened to the song into the name, and then everybody clapped their hand. That was a memory over there.
That's good.
That's how when I was in the restaurant, everybody knows I don't do Jimmy Buffett like with my set, but Tony Bennett, right when he died, I haven't sang the San Francisco in about 2 years. And somebody said, can you sing San Francisco? And I was like, I'll pull it out. I clicked it. I was like, hopefully I remember these lyrics. And I kicked, when I sang that song for some reason that night, maybe it's just because I was thinking about it, I killed it. I mean, it was just those high notes.
That's not an easy song to sing.
But
people
but
don't realize
people
that.
Left my heart
go ahead, brother.
in San Francisco.
There you go. And listen to me, the soul and the soul and jazz voice.
You gotta understand that in San Francisco.
No, but it's
You know how cool it is to realize myself, like an accent. That's awesome. I don't change it. That's what it is.
No,
that's like Hank said about the head. That's who you are.
I have had people request "Girl for Ipanema," and I know the Sinatra part, and then of course there's the Portuguese part that I don't know, and I would love to sit down and learn it and actually do it right. Like I do on an evening in Roma.
You got a guy that can teach you right here.
I do it on an evening in Roma, and I've learned the inflections. Oh, como bella celona. I got really into it. But I need to really do that because I feel like that would be my next thing. Because I've had that request. Hey, that girl from Ipanema?
It is a great song. It was one of those that got overplayed. I mean,
play a lot.
A lot. The brown-eyed girl of Brazilian music. But
that's what it is.
Yeah, but that's funny. It's like when not Wagon Train. What's the song? Wagon Wheel came out.
Gosh.
And I remember somebody, I forget who it was, a musician, I was where they were playing, and he says, "Oh, the new brown-eyed girl," and he sang the song and played it. I was like, "Yeah, that's it." But anyway, Ipanema, it's a great song. It's I love that bossa nova. I love it.
It'd be cool if I recorded it.
Stan Getz, that breathy.
It'd be cool if I did record it, and then I would get you to come in and just do the Portuguese.
Oh, that'd be
part,
awesome.
And then just put it out there. I do that. So I have 9 songs. You paid the song rights or whatever, which I know how to do, and you put it on streaming platforms.
We could play it on the podcast. We could have
would
our
be
excerpt
cool.
on the podcast.
Hanging the guitar in Portuguese.
I'll do the classical, the nylon string.
Yes.
Perfect. That would be fun.
Oh.
You know how much fun is a musical community is like that.
Yes.
I know we sometimes get it just like a horse, you know what I'm saying? Like you get it
We're on autopilot.
money.
Right.
We're on autopilot. We have a schedule.
I was passionate. I tried to not lose my passion for music. Because when you work every day, you just like
You burn out.
you burn out.
It's happened to me
You know what I'm saying?
pretty big times twice.
I don't know if
I've
you
gotten
remember when
burnt
you're 15. Oh my God, I want to learn that song. I'm gonna play that rocky band. Like all the girls gonna be looking to me.
It goes back to what you were talking about, guys that played and women that played music, and then thought it's time to get a real job, so to speak, and get out, and they're unhappy because they don't have the job. They would give anything to have that moment where you were on stage going, not Brown Eyed Girl again.
Oh yes.
They would be going,
Yes.
and singing it with verve and singing it with zest. It's because it's something that you take for granted.
And then things we do every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes.
That's one thing. That's one thing I think with the experience that this table has. I'm young. I always consider myself young because I've started Sinatra when I was 14, but I've gone through different seasons. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Just like bringing yourself back down to earth, humbling yourself. To
realize what you have.
The gift, it is a gift.
It is a gift.
And you are using it. And sometimes if you get on that autopilot, you feel that burnout. And that's okay. But just realize there's a guy at, someplace.
At Ingles, or
Lit,
Chevron,
that are burnout too.
I got to put 3 fingers here backwards, like first finger. You know how many people died to be you?
Oh, exactly.
I want to be you every day.
No. I mean, if you look back, you're talking about wars, you're talking about famine.
Yes.
To get
the
end result, which is us, and then of course Amelia.
That's the blessing we had.
It is.
I'm saying. Another thing I was talking like Hank was talking about and playing Brian and Girl every day or any song, the reaction to us to deliver this thing, you got to be always positive, because even though if you play 3 times in the same set, Margarita View, because that customer over there, you don't know that his feelings, what he's feeling.
That's right.
You give him something today, maybe it's not what you wanted to do, but you give him something for the customer.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And you guys,
well said.
I see so many musicians make Mustang salad. Brian or Girl. They play.
I can hear the shotgun.
They're not talking, but I see them. Lord, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, and people are like, oh my God, it's obligation for you to play this song. Like,
My dad's band, the song Neon Moon was theirs.
Neon Moon,
Sun
yes.
goes down. You know,
I still play that song.
That's a good song.
It is
I
a
say
good
things
song.
on the social media all the time, and like people are like, oh my God, I don't play myself. I don't play Sweet Caroline. And I went over there like one of those big social media pages, 3,000 comments. I said, I play every day, and I enjoy every single.
Yeah,
That's the way to do it, man.
I've been guilty. One thing like New York, and My Way. Those are the two songs that are heavy hitters.
Sure.
Yeah,
and it's really hard for me to start my set with that because I'm leading into those songs. Everything I do, it always leads to that. You know. But some people will come and they'll say, "Hey, like it's my second song." They'll walk up to me, "Hey, man, can you do My Way?" I'm like, "Okay." So in my mind, I'm like, "Okay, I'm aggravated or whatever." You know, like okay, I gotta pull this song
That's
out.
why people see you.
And so in my mind, but but then I'll start singing it, and then I'll start seeing that table, and there'll be like this lady there crying, and it's just she wants to hear something that reminds her of her husband or something. And it just, full circle is like that's what I do. That's why I love what I do. It's those moments where people connect. They're not connecting. They're connecting with me, but they're connecting.
You're the median.
I'm the median. I'm singing a song to them the best way I know the best way I know how. And this person is grasping on there, and they are taking that, and it's bringing back nostalgia. It's bringing back something. And so with every song that we do play as musicians or singers or whatever, it's this person could just think of it as another song. This person, it could be very, very important, vital to their nostalgia. Sometimes even life or death, like somebody who is having a really bad time, but then they'll hear a song or they'll hear somebody and they'll see enjoyment. And they're like, okay, I can keep going. I can keep pushing forward. You know? Anyways, sorry.
You're right. No, that's another
That's
reason.
what it is. It's a reaction on what they're going through one time. And I was at the Butlers, your place.
Hank's Cottage.
Yes.
Well, we're talking about people got a place.
Yeah, exactly.
And those guys came, and you probably know them. I don't know names, like probably your customers and blah, blah, blah. They asked me to play Hotel California, Hotel California is one of those songs they play, like 6, 7 guys in front of me. They sing this whole song. That was important for them.
Yeah, they were
was
connecting.
late night, 1 o'clock in the morning. That was important. They made it there,
They're probably shouting it too.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's our job, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, do I have a dream? Musical dream? I have. I want to be Michael Jackson, Lionel Rich 30 years ago. Now I'm a working musician, I promise. I don't have a dream to record or write a song. I had to record a few albums in Brazil, in Portuguese. I don't. I mean, here delivering this work, there's a business. Just like Hank said, it's a business. I get over there, dress well, adjust the sound, living quality, trying to bring joy to people, and that's it. Get it paid, and I enjoy. No, don't take it as a rude.
Right.
Get it paid, and I enjoy. I like God bless. I can do this.
Doesn't get any better than that. And joy manifests itself in many ways. It's like Jesse talking about the woman that she's crying. She's she misses her husband or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But there is joy in that she's feeling it. There's joy in the blues. I always refer to the blues. There's joy in that. There's joy in I was down and out for that, but it's still people. It's an emotion that they've invoked to the song that you're playing, and that's what it's about.
Well, just said the blues is if you don't feel the blues, it's nothing. I feel the blues when I play my minor scale, my major chords.
I work with. I've written.
That was a joke. I want to get Hank.
For people that don't know that may be listening, minor keys are always the sad keys. Minor chords, E minor, A minor. That's songs that are sad are usually in minor keys.
Matter of fact, they're like.
Well, I've written some songs. I've written a number of songs with Buddy Leach. And so I'd come, we'd do some together, or he'd bring a melody, or I would to the table, and I brought like 2, 3 of them, and he just looked at me and goes, "You really don't like major keys, do you?" In other words, you just like them sad songs. So I just died laughing. I thought that was great. No, I don't like major keys.
You can purchase Hank Berman's album on iTunes right now. You can listen to it right now. if you ready to get into your minor feels.
Yeah, you want to feel bad.
I was laughing to myself another day, watching the podcast. You're like John Mayer, you know? Oh my God!
What a monster!
He was talking about like, oh my God, I just figured out I could do this minor scale, like the A major, and I'm looking to myself like, I've been doing this my whole life.
Oh, he is
because I don't know all the way.
That's right. Yeah, that's all I know.
You know?
That's great. That's
You gotta be simple. Gotta be blessed where you gotta know. Respect. The respect is something.
I like how you said something
strong.
about,
it's very strong. It's very strong to me. I respect.
When you were talking about being your dream famous musician, you were saying that was 30 years ago?
That was 30 years ago. I was making my ways, you know.
And was it Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie?
I'll give you an example.
Who was somebody that was very prolific in your music
it's so hard
journey.
To say about that. When you get here in the United States, it's one thing, you know. Just like I was about to mention about this, Jess said like, oh, I'm younger than yours. I've been around here. Your career here is probably the same time than I do it. I've been here doing like for 18 years. You know what I'm saying? Because I had to start over again.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
was there?
That's true. That is true.
Right,
it makes
I had
sense.
to start over again. I start fresh, learning. I never played electric guitar. I've been playing electric guitar for 10 years.
Oh man, if you bring it next,
you know what I'm saying?
I would love. You need to have like a show and be like, hey,
I never play. If you look to me, Hank and Scott Hinson, the greatest guitar players around here, like, well, what he's doing with that is something different. I'm doing what I can, what my ears give it to me and play. The trio is gone. And that's the way. And then I go see Hank, like, oh, look, it's different. But that, you know what I'm saying?
And just remember, if you make a mistake and somebody calls you on it, I'm playing jazz.
I'm playing jazz.
Look, man, that's jazz. You don't understand. That's freestyle jazz, man. That was supposed to sound like that.
But that's a musician thing. The customers, there's nothing wrong with that. I know my ear, there's nothing wrong, but it's hard to understand. Mm-hmm. It's hard to teach my daughter how I learn math. I do math different, and I stopped, so I'm going to mess her up. Like, no.
Was there a defining musician? Was there a defining song that you heard said, well, and with your background, too, of your uncle and your dad, that you said, that's what I want to do?
15 years in Brazil, my style was totally different. The Brazilian style. I did bossa nova, I did all the samba things in Brazil. But I always, I was in a rock band when I was 16, and mix it up, playing bossa nova, like in bars, like and getting the big bands and the clubs, like, the Brazilian style. But also, since the American music get into Brazil, my dad recorded like a few albums, if like a version in Portuguese of Lionel Richie Still, making it, but all in Portuguese. Right. I don't even remember the words in Portuguese.
Lionel, something about that guy.
He did. My daddy was just like that. Wow. Some people connect me like, oh, you like Lionel Richie? My daddy was right there. I'm not even half singer. My daddy was. I promise. Strong voice.
Do you have any recordings of your dad? Or
I do. I do. I save everything.
One day I want to.
I got.
We have an opportunity.
I got his LP, the small one, like.
The 45.
Yeah, I got about like 3 or 4 of things.
Good.
Good.
Wow. So you talking about one like the vinyl?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, we can
autograph. The first one he recorded, my son gave to me.
That's pretty good.
That was good. That was, and Lionel, I was being Michael was. I used to impersonate Michael Jackson when I was 15.
Really? Did you do the dance?
I cannot do this like 80 pounds over.
What about you, Jesse? Well, I mean, again, your dad is a musician, but was there anything that you heard that said,
Oh yeah.
Besides your dad?
Mac the Knife, Bobby Darin. I like when I heard Bobby Darin for the first time because you hear Sinatra, you hear Dean Martin, you hear Sammy Davis. These guys are the shoulders that so many people have built their musical foundation on. Those were the guys right out of ragtime. You had Bing Crosby, then you had Ella, Louis, Billie Holiday, but then Sinatra was like that first superstar. And to me, that was like, I like those guys. And then you got Elvis. But anyways, you had Bobby Darin who came out later, and he had more of a voice like I do. I was young. I had a high-pitched voice. I didn't have that deep Sinatra voice. I'm starting to get that the older I get, but Bobby Darin just had this wit about him. Dream Lover, even Splish Splash, I was taking a bath. And he wrote that song in like 15 minutes. I was like, that was cool. But Mac the Knife, man, that one song, and that's one of the most requested songs. People just, and some people don't even know what it's about.
Well, it was written in the late 20s.
Yeah.
Late 20s.
Kurt, Broadway.
It's an old German song.
Yes. Kurt Weill. Was it Kurt Weill?
And if you listen to the,
it's a very dark song.
Very dark. But Bobby Darin took it and, his producers and stuff. And then, he made it famous, but I really listened to Bobby Darin. And then as I'm trying to figure out when I'm like, 12, 13 years old, like, okay, I really like this. I did a couple talent shows. I won it doing Mac the Knife at Levine. Then Michael Bublé swoops in, and he takes what my dad saw for me, and he was doing it.
He personified it.
And he was like, all right, well, I need you to listen to this guy. I saw him 3 times. Wonderful performer.
Good sense of humor, too, that
Good
guy.
sense of humor. But just like you were talking about, like,
entertainment, like also, he's perfect in the stage,
But like my dream was to be a famous musician or a singer or something. And then I realized as I got older and I got married and I had my kids.
Life.
And then I was like, oh, wow. It hit me. It's like, I'm living my dream already. Now, it might be not a famous vocalist or musician, but I am I would say, successful entrepreneur in the field of music down here, or gigging or working musician. Like, and that's, I get to sing, and then I go straight home to my kids and my wife.
Right.
And it's when some of these musicians are coming in from out of town to play here, or no touring, no traveling. It's just like, I'm making a good living and I can go home and be with my kids. That's a big deal these days.
Oh,
I put it into it there. Like back in 2010 or 2009, I was playing at the Silver Sleep Casino doing Waveland Wednesday. Dave the Huber.
Yeah, Dave.
And I was scouted and offered to be a part of the American Got Talent. They want to share my story. The same thing we're doing here, they want to share, put him in the show.
Nice.
My number 3X was pregnant. my daughter.
Yeah.
How do I go to?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm going to Hollywood. I'm going to starve. How am I going to pay the bills? That's what I do.
Yeah.
It's too late. I'm a work musician. I can't get out. You know what I'm saying? I can't get out. And the music industry these days, totally different than it was like 30 years ago.
That's right.
Now you got people writing #1 hits from their bedroom. You don't have to go to those big cities and
the girl
record.
Billie Eilish. Her first song was her and her brother wrote it in the bedroom.
Her same gear that she uses actually in that room right now. We're recording on the same interface and everything.
The social media these days.
You talked about that opportunity you had. I had not something like that, but I had an opportunity. There was a guy. I can't remember his name, and it's probably just as well. But he was an antiques dealer in Jackson, Mississippi, and he would go every year to Europe, Eastern Europe. Back then, it was the wall was still up, and it was Eastern Europe. You had to go through State Department to get gigs. But
he would go to the Russian side.
He bullshitted his way and said that he was a big star in America, and they believed him. It had something to do with something. So he would take a band every year of Jackson musicians, and it was like a rite of passage. And you'd go over and you'd do this gig. Well, by the time it was like a 6 week tour of Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, all the Eastern Germany, all these places that Americans didn't get to go, and everybody loved it. But by the time the tour was over, that 6 weeks was over, they wanted to kill this guy because he was a jackass. So he would get a new band to go. So like I said, and one year I got chosen. He asked me to go as a guitar player. So it was kind of like, so I'm with all my comrades. I'm with my buddies, it's like the camaraderie, my comrades. and my wife at the time and I were having troubles, and she didn't want me to go to try to work it out.
Wait, so you didn't go to the East Germany?
I didn't go, and we got a divorce, so I lost all the way.
Lord.
You got to see the cards you're dealt, and you got to know which ones will be there for the long
I
run.
wish I'd got a Germany.
Oh yeah, it's totally different. Like I was 19, I went to Italy to sing
Oh,
for 1
wow.
year. Yeah.
Ooh.
Just me, sing 1 year like Brazilian steakhouse, playing the bossa nova.
How did that come about? How did you get asked to do that?
That's what I used to do in Brazil. You know what I'm saying? And the guy come like say, "Hey,
We'd like
we got
you to...
this new big steakhouse in, like for 2,000 people in Italy, Milan,
huge.
Milan." And I did for 1 year. And then
Where was it at? In
Milan,
Milan?
Milan. Yeah, that was awesome. I love it.
Man, I
would live over there. I would stay over there, but
Yeah.
I was young.
I'm so fascinated by your story of being able, and I've never sat there and heard you sing in Portuguese or something because you say that, you like, that's what you always did. And then you came here and adapted to the music around here. Like, I would love to. Like,
it is
I
fascinating.
would love to go to an Anderson Dominguez gig where it's like,
I'm breathing these here, trying to catch up with a lot of things. And, sometimes I'm trying to be, because there's a natural thing. I'm trying to be myself. I'm trying to be there. It's not just to prove I'm better than you and that. It just to make me feel good to be.
Nothing wrong with that, brother.
I just told my daughter like a couple of weeks ago, she got me on that, just to understand who am I. I said like, oh, I saw you on TV, blah, blah, blah. Something about Ground Zero. And we played over that a couple of times. And my daughter, oh my God, you're so famous. I said, no, I'm not. I'm popular. I don't care about to be a number one.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be in between
yeah.
the community. And she's like, oh yeah, so I don't need to take to get an A+ in school like your KPBs. I'm like,
no, try to make them great.
You know what I'm talking about?
Now,
I say it's smart.
How many kids you have?
One.
Okay.
One, my blood daughter.
Is she interested in music? Does she have it? I'm waiting for my kids to like kind of come to me, but I mean, mine's 5 and 2. And
Melody I was playing Leo's in Ocean Spring. Used to be Glory Bound.
That was a good spot.
Father's Day. She was 3 years old. That was like 8 years ago. And she her daddy being a musician. She got up on the stage. She always been like that. She's not ashamed to get up and, 3 years old. She started pointing to the microphone. Like, I said, what? I'm singing Wagon Wheel. I'm saying, Father's Day, her mama sitting at the table with her siblings. And I'm like, oh, what do you want? And she's like, microphone. And I'm like, what? I get a microphone and she starts saying, rock me, mama, like wagon wheel.
Really?
All the rhythm. It's
That's
tough. I tried to teach her the piano. I tried to teach her the guitar. I tried to teach her to sing. She knows. She knows the tempo. She go in my studio. She clicking my fingers to recording, and she record all the way she want to do her things, drums and the keyboard.
Wow, nice.
She got all this knowledge, computer, but she don't let me teach her. I put her on a piano lesson, and I'm watching every day. She like, listening. She don't listen to that in this point. Because she's like, I know, I got it. You just sit over there and play the guitar. I sing, a kid,
Well,
I like that attitude.
yeah.
I like that attitude.
She knows what she's doing.
And I was the same way. My dad wanted to teach me guitar for the longest time. And I was always like, no. And then it clicked with me. And he couldn't teach me. I had to almost go on my own journey to find out what I could do. I ruined 2 guitars, and this is no joke. I would go take showers. And I was so connected to my guitar that I would put the guitar in the room with me, not in the shower, but in the room, and the steam would get it and just ate it up. And it had to be close to me because right when I got out of the shower, I was like, hey, I got to try this chord. And that was that. I did that for a solid year and a half. And that's when I was like, I want to do music for the rest of my life. And then my dad was like, great that you learned the guitar, man. And I love that. But I want you to learn Mac the Knife for me. And it just changed everything for me. But still, I have such appreciation for the guitar and for my dad wanting to teach me, but he couldn't teach me. It wasn't like if I sat there and was like, well, this is this chord and this chord, and it would go in one ear and out the other. I had to dig and find out my own way for some reason. I don't know why.
No, I think that happens more times than not.
Yeah.
More times than not. One last thing about Bobby Darin. I remember seeing Bobby Darin on TV and stuff, but Bobby Darin was the only musician that I can think of that went from that Rat Pack era. Well, and even then, but he, where Sinatra and them, Tony Bennett did later, but they didn't really embrace the new music. I mean, and I can understand a number of reasons why that didn't happen. Bobby Darin was different. Bobby Darin had a hit with a Tim Hardin song, If I Were a Carpenter. And I remember seeing him on TV, and he had quit wearing his toupee, and he was bald on top, and everybody kind of did that gasp thing. But he's playing the guitar doing a folk song type song, and he just kept going. And unfortunately, he died at a young age. But
we the folks around here don't want a war. You know, when he came out with that, he was like anti-war. They're like, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah.
Like, and people really got onto
him. He had a hard time with it, but I love that he didn't care, and he did what he wanted to do.
You're talking about Sinatra and Tony Bennett, things like that. Have you thinking about we're here doing all these 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000 music? It's gonna be the future musician. Because
that's a good question.
The music is not there here just like it was before. It's a change. You know, we can't remember songs coming from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. You know, like this generation is totally different.
Totally different.
Well, it's music from, I would say, the 30s.
Technology, electronic.
I would say the 30s to the 90s. Now, this is just me being biased, but I just don't see music that's being produced today, like, or even like 10 years ago, being remembered the way that we remember the 70s and 60s.
The melodies aren't there where they were there before,
and the complexities aren't there before either. Like I listen to some of this music and I'm just like, it is so repetitive. It's almost like they've taken
you've talked about that.
They've taken the science of drilling something in your head so much, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, to where, you know, that's kind of their formula to be like, okay, and it's a cash cow business now. It's not like, hey, I'm going to write a hit, it's going to live for generations. It's, let's see how much money I can create with this hit. Now we need a new hit because this one's about to die. You know?
Right. It's a magic. Everything is fast. You know, it got to be like keep it coming.
Exactly.
Electronic, and like we're talking about, and it's like selling. You know, back in the days, like artists, like what do? You sign a contract to a record company. You know, they sell like CDs, make tons of money. Musician get a little cut of that, a little bit, and we play shows.
Yeah, music
money,
on the road.
It's all, you know, they got to promote. It's all combined. We got to work together to make money, sell CDs and make concerts. You know what I'm saying? These days, it's just like, what, you're going to sell one hit for 99 cents like the internet, you know what I'm talking about? Next month, another hit, another album. The album's not like every year. Remember back in the days, there's a new album.
Right.
No.
The only artist I can see that's going to stand the test of time in this generation is Taylor Swift. She's kind of become the new Elvis of this generation. As weird as it sounds, it's like, I know even my wife, who is 33, I'd like to go to that concert.
Really?
Like, well,
yeah, my daughter want to go too, but I'm not going to pay $5,000.
No. You know how many gigs we got to sing for that?
She is. My wife, Lori, was telling me that she's going to put in the theaters. She's going to put a concert.
So,
I don't know if it's live or.
No, I think it's recorded. But that's a big.
People have done it. For those who don't have the money and can't do it, it's actually a very smart marketing tool.
And so
you can see the whole show.
So I think it was whoever her producer was, famous guy. It's on the tip of my tongue now, but they recorded all of her written music, and she said, "Hey, I want more rights. Like, this is my music." And he's like, "No, I own this." So what she has done is she has taken she's redoing all those hits under her own label.
After 7 years or 8 years or something, you can do that. That's this loophole that people don't know about.
But watch, I'm telling you,
a lot of people have done that.
Watch Taylor Swift's career from here on out. Like, she's going to be setting precedents for a lot of people in the future. It's really interesting because...
But she's showing it right now. Like, she's the artists come... I don't remember seeing any artist come to New Orleans and be already pretty much sold out, like, for next year, October show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's...
And a super dome.
That tour's supposed to gross like $2 billion.
It's a lot.
It's
$2 billion.
Like I said, she's the new Elvis. Like, she's... I mean, I can't think of anybody that big. And it just kind of came out of nowhere. It's almost like post-pandemic, it was like, all right, Taylor Swift's starting a concert, and there's this huge frenzy for it.
The masses have been waiting for the Messiah. They've been waiting for They've been waiting for that, and
you gotta think you got to think you had
musical Messiah.
I would say the Elvis, not Sinatra. Sinatra wouldn't bring that crowd, but I'm saying you got Elvis,
but
you had MJ
in their time.
Yeah,
when it was happening in their time.
But Elvis,
Taylor Swift, when she's 70 years old,
Michael Jackson,
doing that, but
oh, she's 30, 34, 35.
Yeah,
she's my age. She's 30. Yeah. She's my wife's age. 33.
33. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
33.
33. Like
33 years old. My shoe.
Your shoes.
My shoes are 33 years old.
Well, hey, before we adjourn with the wickedly talented Anderson Domingues, I want to ask you a question. We always ask this to our guests. For any inspiring working musicians, entrepreneurs in the musical field, or just somebody who's just interested in music, give them some word of encouragement or advice. What would you say? What would you want to tell them that they can take with them and run with it?
Be passionate is one thing, you got to have passion. That's what you want to be. You go do. It's not easy being a working musician. If you weekly, monthly, bring money to your house, you got to be in a good shape. In the morning, for brunch, you're going to sing. Nighttime, sometimes 2-3 gigs. You got to thinking about, like, next day, you got 2 more gigs. Oh, my God, I got 8 gigs. Oh, I'm going to make $2,000. I mean, $200 this week. I don't share my secrets. There's a lot of work involved. You got to be in a good shape. You cannot get in the first gig. Oh, I did great. The second gig, oh, no. The third gig, like, just like going down.
Yeah.
No.
You got to have your duration.
It is a work. You got to be professional. And that's what I believe we are successful. All us 3 here, plus what you got over there, a few out there. There's a lot of solo musicians. I'm talking about solo musicians. There's a lot of them around here right now. But in my opinion, there's a few that are the real one. I include myself. I don't know why. I don't brag anything because I'm irresponsible. If you come up about tasting things in respect, it's complicated. Oh no, he's not a good singer. Oh no, he's not a good guitar player. Oh yeah, he sounds great. This and that. People got a taste. I got to place people. Oh my God, you're the best guitar player I ever seen in my life. I'm like, thank you. You're the best singer. The guy is not even talking about the guitar. Hank, you've been through this, just you know what I'm talking about. Like it's people's taste, But being a work musician, the name say is a work musician.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be, you've been doing your thing outside. You change a little bit, still in the scene. You come see Jesse here at the Scarlet Pro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Still in the scene. You decide to do the weekends. Nothing wrong to have a couple of drinks, or if you have a few hours sleep and go because you can handle.
Moderation, baby.
Not example. Me and Hank here. How many shows you put a week? 10? At least 11 sometimes. You can't thinking about like I'm going out and party, getting home 4 o'clock in the morning because I gotta be playing a brunch at 11 or 10 o'clock in the morning. No, you give up other things. You're gonna make good money, but you give up. That's when the dream doesn't match the work musician.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to write songs. Sometimes I don't have time to record a new track because I don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm taking advance of my business and not people are, oh my God, Anderson is super busy all the time. Yes, I was slamming for 2 years. Tough job. A lot of things. I was trying to survive in playing restaurants, saluting, go forward to all the Mexican restaurants. And then both guys call back, Scarlet Pro come along, I love you casino, Harris, boom, boom, boom. I said, let's make that money.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Got to be healthy, eat, I'm a single guy. I got to see my clothes, take care of my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Everything, food, got to be on the schedule. You know what I'm saying? It never stops. When it gets Sunday, oh my God, I'm off. No, I still work until Wednesday. Oh, I got a Thursday off. That's what it was. I would say, I don't like to say the word bad, but the moment went down a little bit right now in July because I lost 3 steady gigs at the same time, one after the other. Happens. You got to thinking about sometimes they come all the same time. Sometimes
You're
they're
right.
gone at the same time.
Yeah.
They're hurting. I start figuring out things. When I start figuring out things and make my phone call and thinking about who calling me and needing the gigs, I said, you know what? I'm going to take a little break.
Mm-hmm.
No. I look at that guy come like, Anderson, I'm sorry, dude, if you listen to the podcast, but you come like, are you available like September 22nd is a Friday? I say, yes, but I'm not. I'm off. I'm going to take off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
like a couple of weeks ago, so my daughter, I had a Friday off. I went pick her up from school. Usually her mama go gets her and she stayed the weekend with mama. And then she stayed with me and went to have a dinner, went to the beach. She said, that's the best day off
Yep,
ever.
you're right. Keep that
feeling,
balance.
You know what I'm saying? The best, you're never off on a Friday. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the key of the balance that you're talking about too. Like especially with you having a daughter, and you were talking about how that was like the best time. Yeah, money will come and go. Money is very necessary to pay your bills, feed your family, but also that time that you're not going to get back. You're spending that every day too. That's the currency you will never get back. So that balance of, okay, yeah, don't have a gig this week. Somebody just called me, or no, I don't have a gig this Friday or whatever. Somebody called me for that Friday, but I made some plans with my daughter. No, I'm booked.
Yeah,
that you
are booked.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's just interesting.
It is, but it's not easy. Like wake up in the morning. I'm doing like advertising Sunday brunch at Salute every Sunday. They call me for this gig over there. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. You imagine a singer wake up. I got to wake up like at 8:30.
Actually, we both can relate to that.
I know y'all do. Y'all know. I'm like, I'm in the car like,
right, trying to
lose the vocals in a warm up.
Trying to talk or just loosening them up.
And it's 4 hours too.
Yeah.
You go to some of these modern churches and they're wailing out there and they're like, hey, Jesse, you want to sing? I'm like, no,
I'll wait
gigs
till later before I start
but it's
singing.
It's like some people, whether it's church, they'll be singing for 20, 30 minutes, like 4 hours. 4 hours.
But they also might have been up. They also might have been up at 5 a.m. versus
that's true.
You'd have a late gig the night before.
Scholar Pro brunch is 5 hours.
Well,
they just changed.
They just changed
it. Hasn't gone into.
So this coming up week, it's now going to be 10 to 2. It's been 10 to 3 for 3 or 4 years
since they opened.
And that gig from 2 to 3 has always been it's always been an awkward hour because people are coming in right last minute, right before 3. You can see the service just like, wow, we're gonna stay here till 5 now.
Or people looking for dinner.
Or people are saying, hey, can I get some? Oh, we're serving eggs. They're like, what? It was confusing. This is a really 10 to 2 solid brunch hours. That gives them an hour to flip the kitchen, or 2 hours to flip the kitchen. The 4 o'clock they can start dinner 4 to 8. It's just going to be a healthier time schedule for a lot of people, for the servers, the cooks, the bartenders, and the musicians.
Well, back to what you're saying about like the give to the people over there one advice or share is, and all the young generation. I see a bunch of kids come, talent kids coming up, but like some of them they're breathing the 2020s. Some of them listen to the back 7, 80s. The good melody, the good timing, you're not gonna get it right now. Maybe Bruno Mars. Maybe Ed Sheeran, and not many of them out there. You know what I'm saying? Because learn music, they're gonna have to learn how to play the electronic drums.
Just that
even
kick,
even the guitar and the keyboard. I can do it all day long.
Air keys,
you know what I'm
with
saying?
Anderson over here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very respectful. When I lay my tracks, I want to tell this, especially to you, Hank. I use the same drums, kit. Same bass, the same piano, the same string. I try to feel like I'm on the stage for the band. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The ability I can do to put it takes a lot. Takes 4, 5 hours to lay one track. I gotta learn everything: drums, bass. It's not easy. I could go and buy the tracks. I just want to do it. I just want to do it. There's some people doing gigs out there beside me, you, Jesse, and Hank. They just go over there, they just get the tracks and put in the computer and play.
You're right.
I don't know if they know about compress or
no, I don't think they do. I don't
you know
think
what I'm saying? Because I see the songs just go one song to the other, go like, brr, brr, brr.
Yeah, or some keyboard players that'll sit there and play with one finger because the keyboard's on the track. And
exactly. And imagine do things like that. We're gonna do things like that, doing special events like for CEOs and meetings and things like that. Nah, that's a finger in your back talk. Like, so you gotta be there. They're not that to dance. They want to get at the vibe. They're talking business.
Right.
Yeah.
Gibson from the Bow, long time ago, he asked me, they had all the CEOs on the world come to the Bow Revise. They want a music, happy music, but they didn't want a band because the drums. Dude, they're going to put you over that payment. Good money. very good money. You know, dress up, smile, upbeat, not too loud. I got over there, the sound tech. Yeah, sound tech. Select, turn down. The sound tech said, no, I want it low. Happy, you know. I'm saying, sweet Caroline. Ba, ba. They're over there talking beats. Nobody looking to me. I'm on the stage. They look,
But they know you're
smiling.
there.
They know I'm there. Well, there was a couple hours event. The last 20 minutes,
You-
everybody
you-
already like
you
the
add-
wine, and it's like, hey.
You
no.
add a little sauce, a little of that sauce while they're talking business, so it's not such dead noise.
Right.
But you know, a lot of people take it just like this. Oh, that's a boring gig. That's what I do. I'm a work musician. Be blessed to be there and make this money and be part of.
I would much rather have somebody tell me to turn it up than turn
They
it
turn
down.
it down.
Exactly. Turn it down feels like,
Yes.
well, I
And
don't know
there's
what
a
I'm
nice
doing.
way. I've had
That-
people say it in a very nice way
Yeah.
to turn it. And then I've had the other ones that look at you with fire in their eyes like,
Yeah. Don't you love it when they put the finger down like
oh, yeah.
just like they just
Right.
like just like you, just like just turn, hey, turn it
Yeah,
down.
you
Like
sound. You really sound great. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it very much.
Uh-huh.
Could you do me a favor and just kind of, you know, and you get more flies with honey?
But you would rather be somebody coming to me like, hey, man, we're really enjoying it. You can go ahead and turn it up if you want.
Yes.
That's always like, okay.
Yes.
I'll turn it up a tad bit, read the. So I would say
Mm-hmm.
what you're talking about, passion. You're talking about know the room, read the situation.
It's every day.
Room
Every
has
night,
everything to do with it.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
It changed. You can play in the same room, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It might change
You know,
because you might have
it
a
changed.
family with a couple
Uh-huh.
kids running around versus,
changed.
Mm-hmm.
you know, a business
Bunch
corporate.
of,
you know.
or a bunch of 20-somethings that are
I don't know
in
what
for football.
I don't know what Hank is. He's this week. What's that? He the Scarlet Wednesday and Thursday.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. It can be different.
Yeah.
They're both days.
Mm-hmm.
Different clientele. It can
Mhm.
be different. You know, and that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect anything. I don't. We're not like the musicians that you're gonna play the first song is gonna be that. I don't
Right.
even know what I'm gonna play when I'm walking in a place.
That's right.
I sit down. I look at the people like, oh, now I know what I'm gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm appreciative though to the Pearl and like the other place I play at, Hotel Legends, by providing the sound equipment. That's a huge help.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go into Scarlet Pearl. You got to think if you're playing, 3 or 4 times a night and you're bringing your system in there, tearing it down, bringing your system in there,
Yeah, the
tearing it down.
Scarlet's grown this situation, and like they're providing the PAs. Now.
Yes.
It's great.
That's nice.
It's great.
It's advantageous for them too because everybody's on a level playing field. It's not going to be Joe Blow who's can't afford to have a good sound system or doesn't care about a good sound system, and it's
That's the knowledge that people don't know.
Yeah.
What I'm saying? Like they think like, was it to bring their equipment? It's so much trouble because if you're going to play in the
lugging
room,
upstairs.
you can bring like a Bose system to play. And then Hank can bring like a piece of crap, you like whatever, like it's
Appreciate you.
I had to go
Recognizing
somebody had to get it bad.
You know what's funny, Anderson?
That's happening. You know what I'm talking about.
I
do
believe,
know.
you,
I
I
do
believe
know.
you are
place,
the.
different equipment. It sounds different.
I believe that you're the first person, and I'm pretty sure this is it. I can ask Dad when I see him next. But I remember when I was getting into this, and I had those big lollipop speakers, the big hefty PVs you put on some
SP1s, SP2. Oh,
just heavy, and you put them on the metal. But I remember
Lord.
my dad went to the Bourbage,
Mm-hmm.
and of course he's scouting to see if my son wants to do this. And he saw you using the Bose, and that's when he said, "Jesse, there's this new system, and it's right there at the Sunset Bar."
2010, yeah.
Yeah, and they had that. They had this big. You had that big tower.
Mm-hmm.
It was the new thing. And I went out there, got a credit card, and I think it was 2 or 3 years, same as cash. And I bought it. And that is the best investment I've ever made.
You're lucky that you came in right at that time too, because the other stuff, college.
Hey, well, I just want to say, Anderson, you've broken the record for longest podcasting on the High Note Podcast.
Sure has.
We got
Yeah.
so entertaining. I appreciate you guys to have me here. Like, and love you guys, and I'm
Love
a
you
fan.
too.
I'm a fan, and I respect both of y'all a lot. Conversation we had in the past, me and you, Jazz.
That's right.
Hank and I. Like, one thing, like, there's a room for everybody.
That's right.
You are who you are. You're gonna be there. Just work
Yeah.
as a community. Like trying to do. Don't try to cut people off competition because you going down.
You're right.
You know,
Totally right. Words of wisdom.
you protect
Definitely.
yourself. Protect yourself over there because
Mhm.
we're naming here. Like sometimes it's different. I gotta show people, like, even though sometimes some casinos, there's some new people, they pretend they got the position, but they don't know 100% of what they're doing. They're gonna learn it through the process, and that's what they're gonna learn it through the experience of musicians like Hank, and you know exactly what it is. I know exactly what it is, and what I'm saying. Yeah. It's important. It's important.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
It's been great,
Anderson, and until next time, I'm Jesse Hill.
I am Hank Berman.
I'm Anderson Domingues.
Y'all have a great one. God bless.